Next 2.2 economic factors, 2.3
Hmm.
claims and counterclaims,
Hmm.
2.4 agenda for future,
Hmm.
2.5 new economic policy, then
Hmm.
background to the
Hmm.
new policy, evaluation of the policy,
Hmm.
2.6 the second generation reforms, 2.7 summary, ma'am.
So, is it the same things which you
Yes,
see on
ma'am.
your screen, on your PPT,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Same, ma'am.
Right. So that's what I was telling you. I was trying to make you understand the things which I have mentioned in the PPT are just the headings. There is nothing in my PPT. There is nothing you can understand from my PPT. It is your first page of your syllabus copy. My PPT is just that. That is the reason after every 2 class, I am sharing the notes. That is helpful for you. Got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So after every 2 classes, on every Sunday, I will be, last Sunday also, I have shared whatever I have taught in the 2 classes, I have shared on last Sunday. This Sunday, tomorrow also, positively, I'll be, for today's class and tomorrow's class, I'll be sharing notes for both the class on Sunday. Right? Is it clear?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Where is this boy, Venkatesh? You understood or not?
Yes, madam, I am understood.
Understood? Great. So, wait for tomorrow. You'll be receiving notes tomorrow for whatever we are teaching now. And there is nothing in my PPT. It's there in your syllabus copy. Just open your syllabus copy and the PPT is the same. If any difference is there, please let me know.
No, madam. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So we were at agenda for future. Well, the agenda for the future economic environment may
Excuse me, ma'am.
prioritize.
Ma'am,
Yeah, tell me.
ma'am, you were at claims and counterclaims, ma'am.
We are done with that, no?
Hmm.
We are done with claims and counterclaims. Yeah. So, agenda for future. So, the agenda for future economic environment may prioritize sustainable development, inclusive growth, and technological innovation. So, these are the things which could be taken care of when we are talking about economic environment for any organization. Well, it's like when you are running any business, these agenda for future should be taken care of. Otherwise, if you are starting a new company, a new setup, these agenda for futures is also need to be taken care of. So, what are things to be covered under agenda for future? Very first thing is sustainable development. That means that you will grow by not providing harm to your environment. That is sustainable development. Then we have inclusive growth. So by this term, inclusive growth, we mean what the people which are which get affected, or the stakeholders, or the people who are involved in your business organization should grow along with your organization. It should not be like that ki any employee is being suppressed or any person is being suppressed. So when you are growing, your organization is growing, everybody need to grow along with it. Uh, then we have technological innovation. So whatever new technology is been arising, you need to be very capable enough so that you incorporate those new technologies into those businesses. So these come under the concept of agenda for future. Also, other priorities should include what other things need to be taken care of would be enhancing infrastructure. So whatever infrastructure currently the organization is having, it need to be upgraded. It need to be enhanced every now and then so as to go with the flow, right? Because change is very dynamic. So every now and then changes are happening, the things are moving very fast. So similarly, you need to be ready to, from your infrastructure point of view, you need to make changes or enhance your infrastructure. Then we have other things. In other things, promoting education is there, and healthcare facilities need to be provided to the people concerned your business. Also fostering entrepreneurship to derive economic progress. So these are the things which comes under agenda for future. Right. Next thing is we have new economic policy. So when we talk about new economic policy, it is a very large, like a vast topic to be covered off. But for your economic environment is concerned, just a small unit. So just the introduction of economic new economic policy is sufficient enough. So a new economic policy often represent a departure from previous approaches, embracing market-oriented reforms aimed at improving efficiency and competitiveness. These reforms may include deregulation, privatization, and straight trade liberalization to stimulate investment, innovation, and economic growth. So that is the concept of new economic policy. Next, we'll discuss about background to the new policy. So the background to a new economic policy may include economic crisis, structural imbalances, and external pressures that necessitate reforms. For example, a balance of payment crisis may prompt policymakers to adopt measures to attract foreign investment and improve export competitiveness. Also, the new economic policy typically involves a comprehensive set of measures aimed at addressing specific economic challenges and achieving long-term objectives. It often follows a phased approach, right, with short-term stabilizations measured followed by medium to long structural reforms. So that is the concept of new policy. So when we talk about evaluation of the policy, well, evaluating economic policy involves assessing their impact on key economic indicators such as GDP growth, inflation, trade balances, and unemployment. It also requires considering broader social and environmental factors as well as stakeholder perspective to gauge effectiveness and identify area for improvement. Then we have second generation reforms. Well, second generation reforms build upon the achievement and the lessons learned from initial reforms, right? Addressing deeper structural issues and institutional weaknesses. They may focus on areas such as labor markets, tax systems, governance frameworks, and infrastructure to sustain economic growth and development. So this was all about your concept of economic environment. There is one concept of business cycles in economic environment, though it is not mentioned in your syllabus, but it is a quite important one. So we'll be discussing about this business cycle. Anybody, you people must have studied this business cycle previously. Anybody having any idea about this business cycle? Business cycle. Ever heard about it? Having any idea about it? No. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, just note down few points now in business cycle. I'm just dictating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages of business cycle. Just note down it. Yeah. The first stage is expansion. 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 It is also known as boom. 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 Second stage is peak. 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 Next, third one is recession. 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 Then number fourth, we have depression. DEPRESSION. Then fifth one, we have drought. TROUGH. Drought. TROUGH. Sure. And last one, sixth one is recovery. Last one is recovery. Please unmute and repeat. Anybody? The 6 stages of business cycle.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
expansion,
Expansion.
peak, recession,
Right.
depression,
Yeah.
thaw,
Hmm.
recovery.
Recovery. Okay. Now we'll discuss one by one what are these stages. First of all, we need to understand what a business cycle is. Okay. So the business cycle describes the increase and decrease in production of goods and services in an economy. Basically, how a business is doing. This business cycle describes that. Okay. So how good it is going or how bad it is going, how it is increasing, how it is decreasing. This business cycle describes a stage of any business, right? Also, the business cycle is also known as economic cycle or trade cycle. Business cycle occur during due to fluctuation in economic activity in an economy over a period of time. See, any business will not grow in the same frequency or right in the same way. It is not going to grow. Some ups and downs are definite to come. So, what are the reasons of these ups and downs? We will understand by knowing the stages of business cycles. So, the very first stage of business cycle is known as expansion. We also call it as boom phase. So, in the expansion stage, output in the economy keep increasing, leading to an increase in employment, incomes, production, and sales. So these things will increase in the first stage, which is known as expansion. What are the things which will increase? Employment will increase, incomes will increase, production and sales will increase in the first stage, that is expansion. Individuals will consume more due to high incomes and thus demand keep decreasing, seeking higher outputs, resulting in virtuous cycle. During this period, economy is characterized by boom in investment. So that is the first stage of cycle, business cycle, that is expansion. Everything will be in increasing mode, right? Second stage comes, which is known as peak. Well, from expansion, economy reaches to a saturation point. Do you people know the meaning of saturation point? What is a saturation point? क्या होता है?
Ups and downs, sir.
No, not ups and downs. Saturation point. If anything is growing, right? So there will be a point that after that point, it will not grow further. It has to come down after that point. So that point is known as saturation point, right? Understood? If anything is going, if like you are driving a bike or a car, so there is a certain limit, right? Ki up to that limit only you are able to drive or you are able to accelerate the speed till that point only. Yes or no? There is a limit for driving, right? For speed limit is there, right? Come on, tell me fast.
Yes, madam, yes.
Yeah, it is there, no? So after that point, after that speed limit, you are not able to move your vehicle on further speed. So that point is known as saturation point for your speed limit. Okay. So after that point, you have to come back. There is no option left for you. आप कितनी देर, for how long you'll be able to drive on that speed, but at any point you have to come back, right, to the previous speed. So the maximum limit where you can go, where you can reach is known as the saturation point for anything, right? So for businesses also, there is a saturation point. Till that point only your business is going to grow. So that is known as the saturation point. Also, the second stage of business cycle, which is known as peak. P-E-A-K, peak. Understood? So we in the first stage, we have talked about the expansion. So we are expanding, we are growing. Till when we will grow, we will grow to the saturation point, which is known as the peak. Understood? So the second stage of the business cycle in which maximum potential of the economy is attained. Economy has no scope for further grow and output will be highest point possible. So उससे ज़्यादा output आपको आपकी just a minute please. Yeah. So where were we? We were discussing peak. So till that point only your business is going to grow till peak point only, and after that it is bound to come back. It is bound to bounce back. Okay. So the economy has no scope for further growth and output will be at highest point possible. At which point? The second point, which is peak. As output is saturated with positive consumer demand, prices hit the peak, due to which consumer restructure their budget and marking the reversal in the trend of economic growth, right? So that is the peak. Next, the third stage is recession. So when you have reached the peak, you are bound to come back. So when you are coming back, that is known as the recession, the third stage. So this period marks the beginning of contraction, characterized by declining consumer demand. Declining demand lead to lower output, which in turn causes growth of unemployment. Unemployment reduces income levels in the economy, further reducing demand, creating a vicious cycle. So that is the third stage, that is recession. The first one was expansion, you are growing. Peak, you have reached to the saturation point, and now you are coming back, the downfall is going there. So that is known as recession. Now, similar to peak, that is the saturation point of going low, we have a saturation point of, the saturation point of going high is peak. The saturation point of going low is known as the depression. So economic growth continues to drop as demand reduces, unemployment rises, and production further declines. Velocity of money declines and businesses find it difficult to secure credit and investment. Due to this, economic activity is further reduced, resulting in large-scale bankruptcies, negative impact, consumer confidence, and investment as well. So as a result of all this, the economic growth rate turns negative. In other words, economic start receding. So that is the fourth stage, that is depression, right? Next comes the fifth stage, that is straw. So the decline in economy that started in depression continues until the prices of factor of production as well as demand and supply reaches their lowest point, hitting the rock bottom. Ki uske below it is not going to go. So bankers will not be willing to let out credit, choking the economy for cash. There is extensive depletion of national income as well as expenditure. The economy eventually reaches the trough. So this is the lowest that the economy can hit. Below that, economy is not going to go. So the lowest point which economy can go is known as trough. Also, the highest point on which economy can go is peak. So this is so it is negative saturation point for any economy. So peak is a positive saturation point, whereas straw is a negative saturation point. Next, last one is the recovery phase. So as prices reaches the lowest, the economy start to turn around. The turnaround stage is called as recovery. So when you are going up, you are reaching the peak, recession start, you are coming down, you have reached the trough. After reaching the draw, again, you are bound to bounce back. So that bouncing back is known as recovery phase. Okay. These positive signs in the economy restart the flow of money in the economy as the banker release accumulated cash and investment restart to gain momentum, creating employment and raising economic levels. Recovery continues until the economy return to steady growth levels, right? Also, this stage mark the end of one business cycle, right? Understood business cycle? All the 6 stages. Any doubt with any stage? Please ask me now.
Madam, once explain the crop, madam.
Which one?
Fifth point.
Crop.
Yes,
Peak, you understand? Peak.
yes, yes.
Peak is like the positive point. Ki sorry. After that, you cannot go.
Okay, end of the
Right?
point.
That is
Yes.
increase. Similarly, when we talk about the decrease, the rock bottom of the economy, after that, you cannot go.
Okay.
So that is the trough. The lowest point in the economy is trough.
Okay.
Peak is the highest, the positive saturation point, whereas trough is negative. That is negative saturation point.
Okay.
कि इसके नीचे आपको लॉस नहीं होगा, वहीं तक लॉस होगा, उसके ज्यादा लॉस नहीं होगा.
Okay.
Right. And after trough, you are like for peak, when we have reached the peak, there is no other way to you to go because you have already climbed the stairs. Now what will be the next step? You are bound to step back, right? You are bound to go back. Similarly, in trough, when you have reached the rock bottom, you are bound to bounce back. Again, the recovery will start after trough.
Okay.
So in this way, the whole cycle will goes on. So after recovery, again, the first phase, that is the expansion will come.
Okay.
So in this way, the whole cycle goes on.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Great. Now let me check what next to discuss. Okay, we'll talk about our next topic, next unit, which is political and legal environment now. Yeah. So the first environment which we have discussed is the economic environment. Now, the next environment which we are going to discuss is political and legal environment. Right. So the very first topic under this is political stability and change. Well, political stability is crucial for fostering economic growth, social cohesion, and investor confidence. Why political stability is important, we are discussing here. Because when there is no political stability or when the government changes, it is bound that they are going to make certain changes in the rules, in the policies which affect a business. So that's why we are we are saying that political stability is very important, very crucial for any business, right? So as long as a government will go, the policy will be in favor. So as long as when a new government is going to form, definitely they are going to make certain reforms, certain changes, and it's possible that those changes might be in the favor of your business or might not. So that's why political stability is very crucial for any business to grow, for its economic growth, for their social cohesion, as well as for investor confidence. However, political systems are subject to change due to elections. Then we have leadership transitions are there, social movements, and geopolitical shifts. So because of these reasons, every now and then, these political stability has to change, and it changes, right? But their stability is very important for any business to grow in a long run. Also, the next thing we are discussing over here are 3 institutions of political system. Anybody has any idea about these political system, 3 institutions of political system? Ever heard about three institutions of political system? आप लोगों ने पहले पढ़ा होगा in social science or maybe in your BCom about the three institutions of political system. Yes, no? Anybody having any idea?
Can't recognize me.
Hmm?
Can't recognize.
Can't recognize or can't you won't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, no problem. So these are the basic of basically political environment. So for any political environment, there are three institutions, right? So these institutions are responsible for making rules, regulations, and policies for your businesses, for implementation of rules, for making laws, as well as for interpreting laws and resolving disputes, right? So for this, for any political system, there are basically three institutions. The first one is the executive institution, or we also call it as executive system. Second one is the legislature. So that is concerned with making laws. The first one, that is the executive, is responsible for implementing the laws, implementing the policies, the procedures. Second one, the legislature. So the legislature is there for making the laws. And the third one is the judiciary. So judiciary is there for interpreting the laws as well as resolving disputes, right? So that is the three institutions of political system: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Okay. In your notes, these executive, legislature, and judiciary are given in a very, uh, very clearly they have mentioned about these executive, legislature, and judiciary. So kindly go through your booklets while studying three institutions of political system. Also, these institutions play a distinct role in governance, with the executive responsible for implementing laws, the legislature for making laws, and the judiciary for interpreting laws and resolving disputes. So that is the role of these three institutions. Also, there is one term, this judicial activism, the third term, as you can see on your screen. So what is the meaning of judicial activism? So basically, judicial activism involves court taking an active role in shaping public policy and protecting constitutional right. So as we have discussed that the legislature is there for making rules, making laws, right? But sometimes what happens, our judiciary system is also it get involved or take an active role in shaping the public policy. So when this happens, instead of legislature, the judiciary makes the rules or make any reforms or changes is made, that is known as judicial activism. Okay. Also, it can be controversial as critics argue that the encroach upon the powers of the executive and the legislature. So that is the concept of judicial activism. Just give me a minute, please. I'll be back in the class. Just a minute. Yeah. So we have discussed about judicial activism. Is it clear, or should I explain again what is judicial activism?
Yeah, ma'am. Explain once again, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have discussed about three institutions, right? What are these three institutions? The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The role of executive is to implement laws. The role of legislature is to make laws, and the role of judiciary is to resolve disputes. Okay, but in certain cases, the judiciary, it also make and implement certain laws. So in cases when judiciary came into action and they take action while implementation and making laws, that is known as judicial activism. Though it is not the role of judiciary, but still it takes the role of the executive and the legislature. So in that case, we call it as judicial activism. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. A very good example, if you people could remember, of Nirbhaya case. Everybody must have heard of, or you might remember that case. Yes, no, anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, by the end of the hearing of those cases, what happened? What was judiciary doing? Judiciary was into resolving the disputes, right? What was judiciary doing? They were listening to the culprits, they were listening to the victim, and they were providing proper justice to them, right? But what happened after the completion of the case? The judiciary has passed a rule that in such kind of cases, the cases will be heard on uh, fast track court, right? Everybody know about that? The fast track court. It came after this case was there. Such kind of a cases will run on fast track court basis. So that is a very fine example of judicial activism, that judiciary has made a law, a policy, that such kind of a cases will be run on fast track cases. This is just an example that how judiciary is making changes, right? Though the executive and legislatures are there to make changes, to implement the laws, but in this case, the judiciary has taken up the role of legislature and the executive, and they have given this rule, this policy, that for such kind of a cases, the cases will run in fast track courts. Understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great. Yeah, next one is the Constitution of India. Well, the Constitution of India is the supreme law of the country, laying down the framework for governance, fundamental rights, and directive principles. It embodies the ideal justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and serves as the foundation of Indian democracy. So I need not explain much about Constitution of India, as you people are already aware of Constitution of India. You please go through the notes in the book. That is sufficient enough for your examination point of view. Next one is the preamble. Well, the preamble of the Indian Constitution outlines the objectives and ideas of the Indian Republic, emphasizing justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Also, it guides the interpretation of the Constitution and reflects the aspiration of the Indian people. So that is the concept of preamble. Next is the fundamental rights. Well, the fundamental rights are constitutional guarantees that protect individual liberties and freedom from infringement by the state. Also, they include rights such as equality before law, freedom of speech and expression, right to life and personal liberty, and right to constitutional remedies. Right. So that is the concept of the fundamental rights. Next is directive principles of state policy. Well, directive principle of state policies are guidelines for the government to promote social justice, economic welfare, and good governance. While not legally enforceable, they serve as moral and political imperatives in the governance of the country. The political and the legal environment involved in response to societal needs, technological advancement, and global challenges. Reforms may be necessary to address governance deficiencies, enhance institutional effectiveness, and uphold democratic principles. So that is time for change. So we are done with political and legal environment. I again suggest you to go through your booklet. I have seen the content in your book. It is quite good for your examination point of view with these for these political and legal environment. Yeah. Next, what we are going to discuss is the technological environment. Yeah. Yeah. Talking about technological environment, so the very first thing which is you need to understand is the impact of technology. Well, the technology has transformative effects on society. The economy, the business operations are driving innovations, productivity, and competitiveness. Also, it impacts various sectors, including manufacturing sector, services, healthcare, education, and communication as well. So these are the areas which are getting impacted by any technology. What are these areas? These areas are healthcare, education, manufacturing is there, then services are software services are there, as well as communication are there. So these are the basic sectors which get impacted by the technology. Also, technology plays a very transformative role. Transformative role affects on it has on society, the economy, the business operations, also productivity and competitiveness. Next is technology and society. So, technology shapes social interaction. Excuse me. Sorry. Well, technology shapes social interaction, cultural norms, and lifestyles, influencing how people communicate, work, learn, and entertain themselves. It also take care how social inequalities and create new challenges such as digital divide and privacy concern. And when we talk about technology and economy, well, technology drives economic growth by increasing efficiency, reducing cost, and enabling new businesses model and industries. It also create jobs, fostering entrepreneurship. That means it's very helpful when we talk about entrepreneurship, also and enhance global competitiveness. But it also disrupts traditional industries as well as labor market. So you can say that is the drawback on the economy, on the part of you can say traditional industries and labor market. Next is plant level implications. So at plant level, technology impact production processes, then supply chain management is there, then quality control and employee skills and training. Adopting advanced technologies such as automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, and data analytics can improve productivity, flexibility, and innovation capabilities. So this is how technology is going to help. Next one we have socio-cultural environment. That is the last environment to be studied under business environment. That is socio-cultural environment. Well, talking about nature of culture, excuse me, nature of culture. Well, culture encompasses shared beliefs, values. I'm sorry. Well, culture encompasses shared beliefs, values, norms, customs, and tradition that shape the behavior and identity of individual and societies. Well, when we talk about any culture or the nature of the culture, what are the things which comes into our mind? What are the things which comes to our mind when the very first thing is the shared belief? That is, the in any culture, in any community, there will be people who will be having the similar kind of beliefs. So that is the very first thing when we talk about the nature of culture. That is, they have shared beliefs, similar kind of a belief system. Then they have a similar kind of values. Their norms, like their rules and regulations, are quite similar. Their custom and traditions are similar. So when we are talking about any culture, so these are the things which are quite common, quite similar in any culture. Also, that shape the behavior. So these are the things which shape the behavior and identity of the people who encompasses this culture, who are the part of this culture, who are the part of this community. Also, it influences business practices, consumer preferences, right? Also, communication styles and social interactions. Next, impact of culture on business. So, culture influences business practices in areas such as management style, decision-making processes, negotiation strategies, as well as customer relation. Also, understanding cultural differences is crucial for building trust, fostering relationships, and conducting successful business transactions in diverse cultural context. Yeah. So we were at business participants in cultural affairs. Well, businesses engage in cultural affairs through corporate sponsorships, community outreach programs, and cultural heritage preservations programs. Cultural initiatives can enhance brand reputation of your organization. Then they could strengthen a stakeholder relationship. That is, the people who are involved in the business, you could build a very good relationship with them. Also, it contribute to social and economic development of the organization. Next, over here, we are going to discuss about social responsibility of business. Well, from this unit number 5, that this topic, social responsibility of business, then argument after this point, social responsibility of business, you can see on the screen the fourth point. Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, social responsibility. Then we have arguments for, argument against, barriers, social responsibility implementation, and limit of social responsibility. These all the topics are very important from your examination point of view, and a long answer is definitely going to come on this. So let's talk about social responsibility of business. Well, that is also known as corporate social responsibility. We have discussed in the previous class as well. So it involves businesses voluntarily integrating social and environmental concerns into their operations and interactions with stakeholders. It reflects our commitment to ethical behavior, sustainable practices, and value creation for society beyond profit maximization. So what is the concept of corporate social responsibility, or what do you understand by this term, social responsibility of business? Please unmute and tell me, as we have already discussed this in the previous class. Yeah, let me know. What do you understand by social responsibility of business, or CSR, corporate social responsibility? Tell me fast.
Ma'am, charitable initiatives from like NGOs.
And what else? Charitable initiatives like NGO, very good. That is the one, you can say, one aspect of CSR. What else? What other activities are there in CSR? Please let me know fast. Yes. Tell me fast, I'm waiting. You can search. Tell me. Anybody? Unmute and tell me fast. Write in the chat box. See, you people are so much
Ma'am,
concerned about. Tell me.
philanthropy, ma'am, philanthropy responsibility.
Philanthropy. Yeah, I have explained the meaning of philanthropy also. What is that,
Yes, ma'am.
philanthropy? What is philanthropy?
A person who tries to promote the well-being of people, ma'am.
So that is philanthropy or philanthropism adopted by any organization. What else? So what was the first one? That is NGOs, right? Then we have philanthropy. What else? What are the other CSR activities? Search and tell me fast. Come on, you all people are having smartphones in your hand right now. Search and tell me CSR. If you won't understand, if you won't get involved in the class, it's highly impossible that you understand a single thing from the class. If you won't contribute to the class, if you won't understand what is happening in the class.
Ma'am, ethical labor practice, ma'am.
Ethical labor
Labor practice.
practices. Ethical labor
Safe,
practices का मतलब क्या होगा कि we
safe
should
working
not
conditions.
exploit, we should not exploit the employees, the laborers. We should provide a safer working condition for them. Or if any accident happen, we provide proper health care to those employees. So that is the meaning of ethical. What do you say? Healthcare system, working environment for laborers, right? So that is one. Also, we can have integrated social and environmental concerns. That means ki if any harm is being made by us to the environment, am I mute or what? So no. Yeah. So any harm which is being made by us to the surroundings or to the environment in which we are living, so we do our share to eliminate the negative effects of the things which are happening bad because of us. So when we do such kind of initiatives to the environment, like we go on a cleaning drive of the lakes, cleaning drive of the lanes around us, or the nalas, or we go and plant trees in our surroundings, or we could have talk with the stakeholders of our business ki what things they want us to do to contribute as as the social responsibility act from our side. So all those things contribute a social responsibility of any business. Then we have argument for social responsibility. So proponents of CSR argue that business have a moral obligation to address social and environmental issues, contribute to community development, and promote sustainable practices. CSR can enhance brand reputation, attract talent, mitigate risk, and create long-term shareholders' values. Also, when we talk about argument against social responsibility, well, critics argue that businesses should focus on maximizing shareholder value and leave social and environmental issues to government and NGOs. Also, they contend that CSR initiatives may detract from core business activities, reduce profitability, and undermine competitiveness in the global market. Also, what are the barriers to social responsibility? Well, barriers to implementing CSR initiatives include cost constraints, then short-term financial pressures are there, then also lack of awareness or commitment from the management, and conflicting stakeholder interest. So overcoming these barriers require leadership commitment, stakeholder engagement, and integrating CSR into business strategy and operations. Now, how is the social responsibility implementation is being done? Well, implementing CSR involves identifying social and environmental issues relevant to the businesses, setting goals and targets, engaging stakeholders, and measuring and reporting performances. It requires collaboration across departments, transparency in decision making, and continuous improvement to maximize the social impact as well as business values. Next, the last one is the limits of social responsibility. Well, while CSR can generate positive outcomes, definitely it generate positive outcomes. It has limitations as well, including its voluntary nature. So it's up to you. Nobody is forcing you for CSR activities. So it is completely voluntary in nature. That is your will to contribute to social responsibility activities. Nobody will force you for that. So that is first limitation is the voluntary nature of social responsibility. Then we have potential for greenwashing or tokenism and inability to address systematic social and environmental challenges. Well, businesses must recognize the limitation of CSR as well as advocate for policy changes and collective action to address broader societal issues effectively. So that is the concept of corporate social responsibility. So with this, we are done with our social and cultural environment. So in today's class, we have discussed about 4 environment. Those are economic environment, then political and legal environment, technological environment, as well as socio-cultural environment. So these are the 4 environment to be studied for your business environment paper. So the next topic which we are going to study tomorrow is from Unit 6, that is Business Ethics and Corporate Governance. So we will start this Unit 6 tomorrow and we will continue to Unit 7 also. We will try finishing it off as early as possible. Other than that, you again, I am sending my email address in the chat box. If any doubts are there, please let me know. So I believe the doubts regarding your PPT and the notes is clear. Yes, no? Notes I'll be sending on Sundays after the class for Saturday, Sunday notes. And PPT after the classes, if you want for your wish, I can send, but after the classes. Still then, if you are interested in PPT, you can open your first page of your syllabus copy and you can read it out. My PPT and the syllabus copy is the same. Any other doubt, any other questions? Please let me know. No doubts. Great, Venkatesh. So that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
you said that you will send the notes on anyone's email address to me.
Yeah, I have sent the notes on few. Let me know, tell you the email addresses. I have
Okay.
sent because I got emails from two email addresses for their names. So I have sent on
Okay.
these three email addresses. 1 minute. So I have sent on Suresh Sontam. One email address is there. Then we have Mahi Amuluju225. This is one. And Sudhakar Bandaru. So these are the three email addresses I have sent the notes on. So no issue. Tomorrow, please, after the class, I'll collect the email addresses from you people,
Okay.
and along with these three, I'll send to others as well. Okay. I'll attach last class notes as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Worry about the notes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Tomorrow, I'll send both of them. I'll collect the other email addresses and send it tomorrow after the class. Okay. So that's all for today.
Okay,
We'll
ma'am.
meet tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
ma'am.
Thank you.